The sky above Seoul turned red with fire that shouldn't exist. Commander Park Miho pressed his hands against the cold glass of the spaceship Perseverance, watching his home planet die below him. Giant alien ships floated in space like dark clouds, shooting bright beams of death at Earth's cities. "Sir, we lost contact with the European Defense Zone," said Lieutenant Kim Sora. Her voice shook even though she tried to sound brave. "Australia is gone. They're destroying everything." Miho closed his eyes for a moment. 3 billion people were already dead. The attack had lasted 7 days and Earth's weapons couldn't stop the alien invaders. The aliens called themselves the Dominion, and they had technology humanity couldn't match. Earth's best warships exploded like toys against their shields. Only 1 billion humans remained alive, scattered across 47 evacuation ships fleeing into deep space. Each ship carried families who had lost everything, soldiers who had failed to protect their world, and children who would never see blue skies again. "Start Protocol Exodus," Miho commanded. "Set random jump coordinates. We can't let them follow us." "But sir," Sora said, "if we jump randomly we'll never find the other ships again. We'll be alone out there." "Better alone and alive than together and dead, Lieutenant." The massive Dominion flagship hung in orbit like a monster watching its prey suffer. Its commander had sent one message to Earth before the bombardment began. Just 4 words in their clicking alien language: "Vermin beneath our notice." Those 4 words would burn in human memory for 3,000 years. Miho watched city after city disappear under waves of energy weapons. Seoul, where he grew up. Tokyo, where his sister lived. New York, London, Mumbai, all turning to ash and glass. The oceans boiled. The forests burned. Earth's atmosphere itself seemed to scream. Suddenly, every human ship received one final transmission. Admiral Choi Yuna was broadcasting from Earth's last military command center. Behind her, through the broken windows, flames consumed the city. "To all of humanity," she said, her voice steady and clear. "Remember. Survive. Return." The transmission ended. Seconds later, orbital fire erased the command center from existence. Admiral Yuna died with her world, sending humanity into exile with 3 simple words that would define them forever. "Jump sequence starting in 10 seconds, called the navigator. Miho took one last look at Earth. The beautiful blue marble that had given birth to humanity was now a burning coal, its continents barely visible through the smoke and fire. He could see the shape of Korea, the islands of Japan, the curve of America, all being systematically destroyed. Something broke inside him. A fury so deep it felt cold rather than hot. "I swear on everything we've lost," he whispered to himself, "we will come back. However long it takes, wherever we go, we will return and make them pay." The Perseverance shuddered as its faster-than-light engines activated. Around them, the other 46 ships disappeared one by one, each jumping to different random points in the galaxy. Families were separated. Friends would never meet again. The billion survivors became scattered tribes fleeing into unknown darkness. As the ship began its jump, a young engineer named Lee Taeyong came to stand beside Miho. "Commander, where are we going?" "Away," Miho said simply. "As far as we can go. Will we ever come back?" Miho looked at the young man. He saw hope and fear mixed in his eyes. How could he answer honestly? They had no weapons that could hurt the Dominion. They had no allies. They were refugees with nowhere to go. But then he remembered Admiral Yuna's last words. "Remember. Survive. Return." "Yes," Miho said firmly. "Maybe not us. Maybe not our children or even their children. But someday humanity will return. And when we do, the Dominion will learn that we're not vermin. We're survivors. And we never forget." The Perseverance vanished into faster-than-light space, leaving Earth behind. The date was March 15, 2157. Humanity's 3,000-year exile had begun. 342 years after Earth died, Lee Jaiwan stood before a stone wall covered in names. Her great-great-grandfather's name was carved there: Park Miho, commander of the Perseverance. She touched the cold stone gently. "Still thinking about Earth?" her brother Lee Taemin asked, walking up behind her. "Every single day," she replied quietly. "You think about a world you never saw? A world that died 3 centuries ago?" Taemin shook his head. "We have our own world now, Jaiwan. This is home." But Jaiwan knew he was lying. Everyone thought about Earth constantly. It lived in their songs, their prayers, their dreams. Every child learned about blue oceans and green forests. Teachers showed pictures of a world where people walked outside without breathing masks. Parents told stories about cities with millions of people instead of tiny colonies struggling to survive. Earth wasn't just history. It was hope. It was the promise that someday, somehow, humanity would reclaim what was stolen. 1500 years passed. On a colony world called Hope's End, Dr. Han Suji stared at her computer screen in disbelief. The numbers couldn't be right. She ran the test again. "It works," whispered her young assistant Kong Minseo. "We can actually talk to the other colonies." For 18 centuries, humanity's 47 colony ships had been silent and alone. Some had crashed. Some had failed. But Dr. Han's team had just invented quantum communication, a way to send messages instantly across light years of space. Within 6 months they contacted the other colonies. 43 had survived. For were gone forever, their fates unknown. The first message sent through the new network was simple. "Do you remember Earth?" Responses came from every surviving colony. Though their languages had changed over centuries, though their cultures had grown different, the answer was always the same. "We remember. We will return." Another 1,000 years passed. Fleet Admiral Ojiho stood on the bridge of his flagship, looking at 12,000 warships assembled in space. Each ship represented decades of secret construction. Each weapon system represented centuries of desperate innovation. "This is what 3,000 years of anger looks like," said Dr. Yoon Hana, his chief strategist. "Is it anger or justice?" Jiho asked. "Does it matter anymore? We're going home." The ships were incredible. They had weapons that could create black holes. They had shields that existed in multiple dimensions at once. They had fighters controlled by pilots' thoughts instead of hands. Humanity had spent 3 millennia preparing for one purpose: revenge. "Our scouts confirmed the Dominion still controls Earth's sector," reported Captain Baehyun. "But they've split into competing factions. They're fighting each other now." "Good," Jiho said coldly. "They'll die confused, wondering why their past came back to destroy them." But Dr. Yoon looked worried. "Admiral, I need to ask something. We've built our entire civilization around revenge. What happens when it's over? Who are we if we're not preparing to fight?" Jiho had no answer for her. 1 year before the fleet would leave, a spy probe returned with images that horrified everyone. Earth had been rebuilt. Dominion civilians lived there now. Families, children, ordinary people who had nothing to do with the ancient war. They didn't even know humans had existed. Humanity was forgotten, erased from their history books. "They don't remember us," Lieutenant Song Nari said, tears running down her face. 3 billion of us died and we're not even a footnote in their history. That night, Admiral Jiho watched an old video recording passed down through his family for 3,000 years. Commander Park Miho's face appeared on the screen, recorded the day after Earth fell. "To whoever leads our return," Miho's image said, "remember this: we don't fight to become like them. We fight to prove humanity cannot be erased. Fight with honor. Fight to make Earth worthy of what our people sacrificed." Jiho closed the video file. He looked out at the massive fleet waiting for his command. 12,000 ships. 1 billion soldiers. 3,000 years of preparation. "We're coming home, Commander Park," he said to the empty room. "Finally, after all this time, we're coming home." Captain Kwon Mina sat in her fighter cockpit, checking her weapons for the 100th time that week. The Remembrance fleet had been traveling for 8 months, and the waiting was torture. Every pilot wanted to fight, but they were still far from Earth. "All pilots report to Briefing Room 7, the announcement echoed through the carrier ship. The briefing room filled quickly with humanity's best fighter pilots. They came from 43 different worlds, speaking versions of Korean that had changed over 3,000 years. Special training had taught them all to understand each other again. Fleet Admiral Ojiho appeared on the large screen. "We found our first Dominion patrol. 6 ships near the Epsilon sector." The room erupted with excited whispers. "We're going to let them see us," Jiho continued. "Not our whole fleet. Just enough to make them curious. We need to know how strong they are now." Commander Nam Juno took over the briefing. "Kwon Mina, your squadron will engage them. Fight them, then retreat. Make them think they're winning." 3 hours later, Mina's squadron dropped out of faster-than-light travel near the Dominion patrol. The alien ships detected them immediately. Human ships. The alien transmission came through, translated by their computers. Impossible. The humans died thousands of years ago. "This is Captain Kwon Mina of the Human Remembrance Fleet," she broadcast back, her voice ice-cold. "You have 30 seconds to surrender." The response was laughter and weapons fire. Mina smiled grimly. "All units engage. Make it look good." Her fighter danced through space, dodging plasma bolts. The Dominion ships were advanced, but nowhere near humanity's level. Still, Mina's squadron pretended to struggle, taking small hits, making tactical mistakes look real. After 10 minutes, Mina ordered retreat. Fall back. Fall back. Her squadron jumped away, leaving the Dominion patrol confused but victorious. Back on the carrier, Dr. Yoon Hana studied every second of the battle. Their technology improved, but they've become lazy. They expect easy victories. They rely on heavy weapons, not smart tactics. Perfect, said Jiho. And now they'll report that humans still exist. Let them worry. 2 years into the journey, the fleet gathered in a dark nebula to debate their strategy. Leaders from all 43 colonies met virtually, their holographic forms filling a massive chamber. Governor Shinharu spoke first. Reconnaissance shows 5 billion Dominion civilians living on Earth. Are we really going to kill 5 billion beings for what their ancestors did? They live in our houses, shouted Representative Im Soo-young. They profit from our genocide. They were born there, Haru argued. They don't even know what happened. Jiho raised his hand for silence. We'll give them 48 hours to leave. After that, Earth belongs to humanity again. And if they refuse? Asked Commander Jang Hyok. Then they made their choice. Captain Mina sat in the back listening. She thought about a young Dominion pilot she'd killed in a recent skirmish. Too young, probably their first mission, screaming for their mother as their ship exploded. After the meeting, she approached Jiho privately. Sir, what are we now? We spent 3,000 years preparing for revenge. Are we still human or have we become monsters? Jiho looked exhausted, older than his years. I don't know, Captain. But we owe it to the 3 billion who died to reclaim our home. After that, we'll figure out who we are. 3 years after leaving, the fleet made its final jump to Earth's solar system. As they emerged from faster-than-light travel, every sensor locked onto the blue planet in the distance. Lieutenant Song Nari wept openly at her station. It's real. It's actually real. All across the fleet, humans saw their homeworld for the first time. The world of their songs, dreams, and 3,000-year obsession. All ships, Jiho broadcast to the fleet. This is where our ancestors lived, loved, and died. Today we take it back. Not just for revenge, but because Earth is ours. It was always ours. He paused, then commanded, all ships, battle stations. We're going home. 12,000 warships powered up their weapons and began moving toward Earth. The Dominion forces, comfortable after 3,000 years of peace, scrambled desperately to respond. The battle for humanity's homeworld was about to begin. The Dominion defense commander stared at his tactical display in confusion. What am I looking at? 12,000 unidentified vessels, Commander, his sensor officer reported nervously. They're human ships. Impossible. The humans are extinct. Tell that to them, sir. The human fleet advanced in perfect formation, a wall of steel and fury 3,000 years in the making. Fleet Admiral Ojiho's voice filled every Dominion communication channel. This is the Human Remembrance Fleet. 3,000 years ago, you destroyed our world and murdered our people. You called us vermin beneath notice. We have not forgotten. You have 48 hours to evacuate all personnel from Earth. This is your only warning. The Dominion commander's mandibles clicked nervously. They can't be serious. We have 300 ships here. They're outnumbered. His tactical officer studied the scan data carefully. Sir, their technology readings are off the charts. I'm seeing weapon signatures we've never encountered before. Power outputs that shouldn't be possible. Irrelevant. All ships engage the human fleet. Show these primitives why they were exterminated the first time. The Battle of Mars Orbital began with Dominion confidence and ended with Dominion terror. Captain Kwan Mina led the first fighter wave. Her fighter moved like it was alive, responding to her thoughts instead of controls. Dominion defense drones filled space with plasma fire, but Mina's squadron phased through the attacks like ghosts. Their dimensional shields made conventional weapons useless. Gold Squadron, Singularity torpedoes armed, she called out. Fire on my mark. The torpedoes created tiny black holes that collapsed the Dominion station's shields instantly. The station exploded in a brilliant flash. Commander Nam Juno watched his pilots dance through enemy fire. 3,000 years of innovation, he whispered. They have no idea what we've become. The Dominion fleet tried to rally at Mars, forming a defensive wall. It lasted 17 minutes. Human destroyers appeared inside the Dominion formation like magic, their weapons tearing through ships before anyone could react. When the Dominion tried to regroup, human carriers deployed mines that appeared simultaneously across massive areas of space. Of the 300 Dominion ships that engaged at Mars, Only 37 escaped to Earth's orbit. The Dominion planetary governor broadcast to the human fleet, "You cannot win. We have 5 billion civilians on Earth. Attack us and you become the monsters you claim to hate." Jiho's response was cold. "You have 10 hours remaining to evacuate. I suggest you start." "You're bluffing. Test me." The governor ordered all evacuation ships grounded, intending to use civilians as human shields. It was a fatal mistake. Dr. Yoon Hannah had spent 3 years mapping every Dominion military facility on Earth. When the evacuation ships were grounded, she activated Protocol Precision. Across Earth's surface, human stealth drones struck with surgical accuracy. Control towers, defense systems, military command centers. Every target chosen to cripple Dominion military power while avoiding civilian areas. In 90 seconds, the Dominion lost control of planetary defense. "Evacuation ships are now free to launch," Jiho broadcast. "Governor, you have 9 hours remaining." Panic seized the Dominion population. Evacuation ships filled with civilians began launching despite government orders. The governor, seeing his leverage disappear, made one final desperate move. He activated Earth's orbital defense platforms and targeted the evacuation ships. "If I cannot have Earth, no one will. I'll kill every civilian in orbit before I let you claim victory." Captain Mina's squadron was already moving. Her fighters intercepted every platform, destroying them before they could fire. But one hidden platform on the moon's dark side got off a single shot. The freighter Hope's Journey, carrying 15,000 Dominion civilians including children, exploded in a ball of white-hot plasma. Mina screamed in rage, her fighter diving toward the lunar platform. She destroyed it personally, her torpedoes turning the installation into dust and memories. The ultimatum expired. 3 billion Dominion civilians had evacuated. 2 billion remained, unable or unwilling to leave. Jiho made the hardest decision of his life. All ships, commence planetary assault. Target only military installations. This is liberation, not extermination. The bombardment was surgical and precise. Human ships targeted government buildings and military bases. Ground teams dropped from orbit to fight Dominion holdouts in close combat. The battle for Earth lasted 6 days. When it ended, Fleet Admiral Jiho led the 1st Return Regiment personally. His boots touched Earth's soil for the first time. He knelt, pressing his hand into the dirt. 3,000 years of waiting was over. "Raise the flag," he ordered. As humanity's banner rose above the ruins, every ship in orbit fired a salute. The thunder echoed across a world that had waited 3 millennia for its children to come home. "Earth is ours again," Jiho broadcast to every human colony. "We have returned." 3 weeks after Earth's liberation, Captain Kwan Mina walked through the ruins of Old Seoul. The Dominion had built their own city over it, but human excavation teams had found the original structures buried underneath. "Captain, over here," archaeologist Lee Sora called out, waving from a dig site. Mina climbed down into the excavation. There, preserved in a sealed chamber, was a grocery store from the year 2157. Shelves still held packaged food long expired. A child's toy lay on the floor near the checkout counter. "Someone was shopping when the bombardment began," Sora said softly. "They never made it out." Mina picked up the toy, a small stuffed tiger. Somewhere in this building a family had died. One family among 3 billion. That evening Mina watched a recovered video in her quarters. It showed a family recording a birthday message. The date stamp read March 14, 2157. One day before the Dominion arrived. The father spoke cheerfully to the camera. "Happy birthday, Mom. We know you're on the Mars station and can't be here, but we wanted you to know." The video ended abruptly. The next day that family had ceased to exist. Mina thought about the Dominion civilians she had helped evacuate. The children crying for their homes. The parents terrified for their families. What made them different from this family? Nothing except when they were born. 2 months after liberation, the War Crimes Tribunal began. Governor Thelzor stood trial for attempting to murder evacuating civilians and using populations as shields. Fleet Admiral Jiho served as prosecutor. This being represents everything we fought against. Casual cruelty. Contempt for life. The belief that might makes right. The governor's defense was simple. "I followed Dominion law. What I did was legal under our system." Jiho's response was sharp. "Your legal system is not on trial. You are. Under human law you are guilty." The verdict, guilty. The sentence, life imprisonment, not execution. "We could kill you," Jiho told the governor during sentencing. "Many want us to. But we won't become what you were. You'll live as a reminder that justice exists even for those who showed none. Some humans protested, demanding execution. But Jiho refused. If we execute every defeated enemy, we're no different from the Dominion. We have to be better. 4 months after liberation, the fractured Dominion faction sent delegates to Earth for peace negotiations. They expected harsh terms, perhaps slavery or forced labor. Dr. Yoon Hana surprised them. We don't want your servitude. We want acknowledgement. Tell the truth in your histories. Teach your children what happened. That's all. The delegates were confused. That's everything? That and one more thing. We're establishing a federation. Multiple species, equal representation, mutual defense. You're invited to join. Why would you want us after what we did? Because 3,000 years of hatred taught us something. Revenge only creates more death. We can repeat history or build something new. Not all Dominion factions agreed, but many accepted. The Treaty of Return established the Multi-Species Federation with Earth as its capital. 1 year after liberation, Commander Jang Hyok oversaw restoration of ancient landmarks in Seoul. Human and Dominion workers labored together, rebuilding what had been destroyed. A young Dominion worker approached him nervously. "Commander, why don't you hate us?" Hyok considered carefully. "I hate what was done. I hate those who destroyed Earth. But you weren't born then. You're not responsible for your ancestors' crimes any more than I deserve glory for my ancestors' survival." 2 years after liberation, the memorial to the fallen was dedicated. 3 billion names inscribed on black stone walls spiraling toward a central monument. Fleet Admiral Jiho, now retired, spoke at the ceremony. "How do you honor 3 billion dead? I think we honor them by being better than those who killed them. By building a future they would be proud of." 5 years after liberation, Ambassador Mina mediated disputes in the Federation Council. After one session, her friend sent her a video. It showed a park in rebuilt Seoul. Children played there, human children, Dominion children, children of many species, chasing each other through fresh grass. "That's what we fought for," her friend said. "Not the dirt. Not the buildings. That possibility." Mina smiled through tears. "Yeah. That's worth 3,000 years." 10 years after liberation, Dr. Yoon Hana walked through the Earth Archive. A young student approached her. "Dr. Hana, was it worth it? 3,000 years of preparation." Hana thought about everything lost and everything gained. We needed to return not just to reclaim Earth but to reclaim ourselves. To prove we were still human. And did you prove it? We're still proving it every day we choose peace over revenge. That evening, Hana touched the memorial wall, her fingers tracing Park Miho's name. "We made it home," she whispered. "Just like you said we would." Above her, Earth's sun set in brilliant colors. Tomorrow it would rise again as it always had. Humanity had returned. And this time they were home to stay.